Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to nearly, if I could talk tonight, nearly midnight movie chat. Today, of course, is the 23rd of May, 2021. And apparently, Zack Snyder wants to make a porno. Awesome. Hey guys, how you doing tonight? Hope everything is going well. It is nice to be feeling better after the intense day I had yesterday with the second Moderna vaccine. Today I am feeling better, still a little bit tired, a bit lethargic, but after the evening I had, I'm kind of ready to just wind down the night, wind down everything. I had to go to the doctor today, the orthopedic doctor, to get an MRI. In which case, they made me spend about 25 minutes in absolute stillness while listening to Katy Perry. It was torture. It was real torture to not move, or else I'd have to do it all over again, which meant more Katy Perry. But it also meant that I couldn't sing along to Katy Perry, which I found to be very frustrating. Because sometimes those jams, they just slap. You know what I mean? They slap real hard. And even though you're told to not move, you can't help but will your body a little bit. You can't help but groove to the music. It's torture, I tell you. It's absolute torture. And I'm glad I don't have to do that again anytime soon. So why don't we take a quick look here at the chat, see who's here. Luke Stone, hey, how's it going? Saying here, Zack and Miri is totally underrated, as it is. Batdan here with, once again, hashtag restore the Snyderverse and hashtag prove Matt Jarbo wrong. But see, the problem here, Batdan, is that I'm never really wrong. Loriver is talking about a bunch of slow-mo ejaculation. We'll get to that. Donovan Martin here says, get Junkie XL in it and we are good to go. Following it up with two things. It's going to be 4 hours and it's going to blow us away. Yeah, I think a Zack Snyder porno probably would. Geeks here asking how I'm doing. I'm doing okay. Andrew Casali. Yeah, Andrew. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Video game NPC hashtag granny panties. I don't know what the hell that means, but okay. Mario Jimenez here says, who else came to the chat because of the title of this video? I'm hoping all of you. Geek Studios here says your thumbnail got me laughing. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good too. I made this very quickly. By the way, that Zack Snyder porn videos Pornhub search, that is legitimate. You can Google Zack Snyder porn and you can find that actual result that pops up in the thing. So to me, that's pretty dang funny. To me, it's pretty dang hilarious. Music Man, I'm doing good. How are you doing, man? Jacob here asking, or just saying hello. And all right, let's see. H Barts with the $5 super chat right off the bat said, Zach gonna start a porn cinematic universe. Yeah, probably. Most likely is gonna end up being that. I mean, look, here's the thing. It's you know, I think Zach should make the porno. I do. I really do. I think he should flex his creative muscles and get in there and just make something so utterly cinematic, so utterly artistic, so absolutely amazing that the world full of blue checkmark fuddy-duddies will go, yeah, I whacked to it. It was pretty good. And they'll maybe get on the Snyder train with the rest of us. They'll be like the use of lighting, the slow motion ejaculation, the ripples of when pelvis meets ass. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Anyway, Batman here says, I got my sleep timer on my TV. I will be falling asleep to your voice. Thank you. I hope that does well for you. You know, I hear that actually from people every once in a while that they tell me that they actually do fall asleep to my voice. And it does make me feel kind of like, you know, I do feel a little bit angry about that. You know, I'm not going to lie. I try to be entertaining. I try to be funny. And then someone's just like, yeah, man, but I fell asleep to your voice. And it's like, well, don't. I'm not saying you have to like whack it to my voice or anything like that, but don't let it lull you to sleep, man. Don't let it lull you to sleep. Because that more or less just says that I'm bad at what I do. If my job is to be entertaining and you're using me to go to sleep, that's pretty bad. In fact, Nicotina has actually said that to me. Andre has said that to me before. He has said that. He's like, yeah, I listen to you to fall asleep sometimes. I'm like, you son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. Even on the other stuff, the Boulder Talk, when I'm getting pretty crazy with it, he'll say that. And like, that's pretty sad, actually. I don't know if it's a compliment. I don't know if it's a compliment. Anyway, H-Bart's here, another $5, says, when we get in that Andrew boxing match? Yeah, I know, man. I would love to. I want to know when Andrew is gonna go and fight Mladen. I want to comment. I want to commentate on that one, right? I want to be the Joe Rogan in that conversation. I want to sit there and just be completely impressed when Andrew absolutely bodies Mladen. If you don't know that saga, they were fighting in the chat. Internet tough guy antics came into play, and Andrew Casale thinks he could win because he knows how to get into arguments with his dad. To which case, you got to 1v1 him. You beat your dad. You have a solid shot at Mladen. That is the rules, Andrew. You have to go through your trials and your tribulations. You are going to need to level up. You are going to need to have a training montage. You are going to need to fight if you are thinking you are going to win. And I think the rest of us here support you. I think even Mladen would support you. I'm just saying, I think Mladen would be like, yeah. Train, young whelp. Train. And then you fight him. But like the thing is, he'll have his guard down. He won't know what's going on because he'll think that you didn't actually do it. Then you do it and you hit him with a chair and bam, you're the man. And all of a sudden it just starts raining panties. So good for you. There you go. All right, real quick here. Bat Dan does follow it up by saying, if it makes you feel better, it's my compromise between not watching TV and following the doctor's orders to not watch a lot of TV. And I get it, dude. I'm just giving you a hard time. Thank you very much. All right. Let's see. Music Manager says, after this kick-ass stream, I'm going to re-up my Netflix and watch Army of the Dead, followed by Pink Flamingos. I have that on DVD, and it's going to be a good-ass night. It's going to be a long-ass night, dude. It's going to be a long-ass night. Because I'll probably be wrapping this up around midnight. Because it's Sunday night. I got to get to bed, too. So, 2.5 hours for Army of the Dead should be good for you. Should be good for you as well. All right, we've been on for a few minutes. Let's take a look here at the article so people know what the hell I'm talking about. Some people out there, they don't know. Anyway, all right. So, according to Screen Crush and a number of other outlets, they say here, Zack Snyder wants to make a porn film. No question mark, no exclamation point, no punctuation of any time, but it's not being presented as a hypothetical. This comes across like Zack's like, yeah, I thought about this, right? Now, this is what he says in an interview with The Telegraph, timed to the release of the latest Snyder film, the zombie heist flick Army of the Dead. Snyder said that a lifelong interest in bodybuilding and the human body is something he's explored in films like 300, but not to the extent he would like. In fact, he says, I've always wanted to make a religious film and a pornographic film, and I've never really yet had the chance to do either. Maybe if I could combine the two, or maybe 300 is that film in some sense, a little bit, or at least a primer for what that film could be. And if you have seen 300, you know that there's a lot of very, very, very beefy, oiled up, sweaty dudes. And also Lena Headey getting banged in slow-mo. And also that naked chick the oracles talked to that was also in the water and in slow-mo. What we're talking about here in regards to Zack Snyder is slow-mo nudity. That's what he would do. Now, the concept of the religious film, I think, is kind of more hilarious to me as it goes on. But still, him wanting to go off and make a pornographic film is something that, you know what, he should do. He should absolutely do this. Because why not expel those creative juices? You know, why not fire it off like a rocket in the night to make a dry lake bed on your floor? Why not express yourself in the carnal arts? If done, there was here's the thing, guys. Here's what you don't know. Here's what you probably don't understand about the whole thing involving porn, right? It used to be artistic. There used to be stories. Like, seriously. Nowadays, it's all clips. It's all clips that are just kind of like shot and then they're licensed out to the different websites. But back in the day, back in the glory days, they used to tell stories. Epic yarns of life and love and sex and different things to different people. And back in the 70s, my God, the pubic hair. Massive, immense, redwood forest type of bushes. These bushes could be seen from space. That is how the pubic hair game was in the 70s. There wasn't a thing called wax. There were no razors allowed. Even dicks had sideburns back then. That is how much they cared about the hair in that experience. But also, now Underhaven here does say that story in porn is so cringe, but you had films like Deep Throat. You had films like The Devil and Miss Jones. You had actual artistic attempts at storytelling back in the day. Actual X-rated. Triple X, by the way, is just a marketing gimmick. There's no such thing as triple X. It's just X-rated. But you had actual X-rated films back then that were attempting to, I don't want to say go legitimate, but they were attempting to be seen as something more than just skin flicks. Stag films you watch in the weekends with your buddies, which, by the way, that was a thing. Stag films is what pornos used to be called before they were called pornos. Basically, as Ryan Hartwell here says, cue Boogie Nights. Boogie Nights is a great day. It's a great film about porn. It's a great film about the industry back in the day. And it gives you an idea of what they were trying to do. And even a number of years ago now, I think it was 2009, Valentine's Day, I went to a 3D porno that they had playing in San Diego. A bunch of my friends and I went. And it was the most laughable, stupidest thing I'd ever seen. But it was really funny. The whole thing was really funny. And we watched it, and the 3D was god-awful, and the film print was worn to hell and back. But the moral of the story, the moral of that film was that anal sex leads to murder. Because the only girl who got it in the butt ended up dying on a crate of Martinelli's. Art. Actual art. Oh my God. What are you doing, Stepbro? Yeah, I know, man. I know. That stuff today. Right. What's this one here? Lord Slug says, I heard Jarbo loves the mom getting stuck in the washer. I don't understand. I was talking about this with Enosh a while back. And I had to kind of laugh because I'm like, for one, he's way more versed in this than like the pastor will let you know. Even on his show, 2 Cents on Nonsense tonight, he name dropped Johnny Sins. And I was like, oh, really? Someone's been paying attention. Someone's got a favorite, And so anyway, it's like, but no, the way that stuff is now, it's not artistic. It's taboo for the sake of being taboo. It's not pushing the bounds of society in a way that could be seen as, socially acceptable down the road. At no point is like this incest craze meant to be anything like that. It's not. So if Zack wanted to do it, if Zack wanted to go in and to tell a story like this, I think it would be fascinating. It could be the Guardians of Ga'Hoole of porn. It could be the Man of Steel of porn. Actually, it probably would be something involving Man of Steel. Rick, could you imagine if he was like, Henry, your acting career has stalled since going to Netflix. Why don't we make a Paul Verhoeven-esque erotica movie? Those were pretty big back in the day. It revitalized Sharon Stone's career. It gave Michael Douglas something to do. Come on. How about we get you and Rachel McAdams and you all smash ugly? That could be kind of fun. It'd be cool. Anyway, oh, there we go. Katsuka here. This is why Enosh knows about Johnny Sins. There we go. Yeah, Johnny Sins for Lex Luthor. Even random idiot here says Johnny Sins as Lex Luthor. Yeah, you guys know his fetish. There we go. There we go. Anyway, H Bart's here, $5. Thank you. Says a fight is brewing in the chat. Who is fighting in the chat? Is Andrew once again? Is Andrew trying to internet tough guy the chat? Andrew, stop trying to internet tough guy the chat. It's pretty funny. Min here does say Matt is talking about compelling storytelling in a porn video. Look, man, let me break down why porn needs compelling storytelling. All right. No. And I mean this, like, this is me being like a legitimate critic of porn. Okay. Now, just real quick though, I did see this one here. Mario says, just Watchmen again. The scene when Owlman and Silk Spectre, it gives his ideas on what he watches. That's very true. Hallelujah plays, which is oddly enough his daughter's favorite song. We're not going to go into that. That's a joke, by the way. That is a joke. That is a joke. But I love the fact that what was it? Merlin, the flamethrower goes off to signal ejaculation. And by the way, we don't know. Here's the thing. We think, by the way, at that point in time, that the ejaculation is Owlman's ejaculation. But here's something that popped up in Army of the Dead you might have missed. This is a mild, light spoiler. Nothing story, but it is something that a character was wearing. So what we have here is let me get this off the screen here. This shirt is being worn in the opening credits of the movie. The future is female ejaculation. This is not a joke. Netflix themselves tweeted this out today. I didn't notice it when I was watching the movie, but this is during the opening credits. So in Watchmen, we know that there is a climax segment of that sex scene, right? There's a climax segment of that sex scene. We all thought it was Owlman, but here Zack is clearly pro female ejaculation, and he put it on a t-shirt. And it's in that old kind of, 1970s font, which I really enjoy. I forget the font, like baseball type stuff, right? So anyway, so that exists, by the way, guys. So that exists. But let me get back to the concept of talking about why porn needs a compelling story. So what is ultimately the idea of pornography? The idea of pornography is for climax. It is for getting off. It is for that. That is the general concept of it. Watch people have sex. It turns you on in your lizard brain. You want to have sex, or you want to get yourself to that place. Fine. Now, porn, I am a pro porn advocate, by the way. But the thing with porn is that too much of it can, in fact, desensitize people. And the more you watch of it, the more you start seeking out what gives you a reaction. And that is also very true. And so that's why I think we're in the situation right now when you go to these websites, why you find nothing but these scenes of like, hey, step bro, what are you doing? And, like very, 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 very questionable storylines in some of these videos. But what I'm talking about in regards to the compelling nature of good storytelling is when you watch a movie with a good story and good characterization, don't you find yourself in that movie? Don't you subconsciously put yourself in those characters' shoes? Don't you want to spend more time with those characters and you feel a certain way when it's all over? Remember what I was talking about the other day? I was talking about that show on Netflix that had really good characterization. And at the end of 4 seasons, you felt that there was a connection between these brothers. And the fact that it was coming to the end in the way that it was absolutely sad. It made me sad as a viewer. And I mean, again, what I'm talking about here is Boss Baby back in business, a very good 4-season show on Netflix. I recommend you check it out. By the end, you'll be hooked and you'll be sad that it's over because there was compelling enough characterization and compelling enough storytelling. Now, what does this have to do with porno? Ultimately nothing. But when you think about a story that's being told from a compelling perspective, you get invested. When you get invested, you actually form attachments with these characters. You form emotional bonds with these characters. It's one of the reasons why that, all of these networks have given people, generations of people now, PTSD from all of these shows being ripped away without ever getting a proper conclusion, no proper climax. blue balled, if you will. And as a result of that, people kind of have this, they don't want to invest the time. They want it quick and dirty and done, because why invest the time when you might not get what you want at the end? Okay. It's all about relationships, all about building and forming relationships. When you watch a porno that has a compelling enough story, compelling enough acting, and it gives you that whole emotional angle that goes into the sex, then it becomes a much more deeper and intimate experience. Now, again, many of you out there might argue that it doesn't need to be intimate. Why would porn need to be intimate? Why ever would this need to be intimate? Of course not. You might think that, but then again, we're talking about people, when you have actual sex in your life, when you have relations with somebody, you want it to be intimate. When it comes to men, the idea of sex is generally regarded as just, rub, get hard, put into a moist place, preferably warm, thrust, rinse, repeat, done. Okay. It's a very simple concept in order to get men to the place of getting off. But women, on the other hand, it's more emotional, and you have to build up there. You have to build it up with a compelling enough story. Men would generally be willing to have sex with a woman on the first date. Women, generally, it takes a little longer to get there. There's kind of like that third date rule we've all kind of heard floated around in polite society. But all things considered, it's like it takes time for women to get to the point of forming a bond with that person and wanting to open themselves up to that kind of relationship. So in porn, if you were able to tell those kind of stories and create that kind of bond, it would be a much more, I believe, intimate, rich, and rewarding experience. Now, at the end of the day, are my thoughts ever going to come to fruition with the industry? Of course not. Their whole entire business model is pump and dump. They shoot it. They don't care what the context of it is. They shoot it. They exploit the people who work in the industry. They physically abuse them in many cases, get them hooked on drugs in many cases, and put it out there in a way that really does alter the perspective of what sex is. Because if you ever go into a situation and you think that sex is going to happen in the first 5 minutes because that's what you've kind of trained your brain to think about, then you're in for some serious and utter disappointment. And that is kind of where we find ourselves with this whole thing. So let's say, for example, Zack Snyder wants to come on in, and Zack Snyder wants to tell a compelling enough story. Let's say Zack Snyder wants to tell something that is as deep and philosophical as Batman v Superman. I know you're thinking, is Batman v Superman deep and philosophical? The answer to that question is absolutely. Chris Terrio's screenplay very much crafted a very deep and philosophical tale of these two differing perspectives and being kind of at the edges, at least with Batman's character. There's a lot there to kind of unpack. The same thing goes with Justice League, even the Zack Snyder's Justice League, and even Man of Steel has a lot of that in there as well. You can tell that there's good characterization, and of course it leads to something that is full of heart and full of love and about trying to overcome your demons. So if they were to take something as compelling as that and they were to put it into a porno where instead of the action scenes, those scenes were more or less sex scenes, you could get something that I think would probably go a decent way of breaking a fair amount of bank. Like we would have a mainstream pornography film. 50 Shades of Grey, very close to that. And I mean in regards to the attempt, not the execution. The execution was god awful. The execution was terrible. Those movies are just, they're flippantly offensive. Those movies are, because they're so bad. But the books crafted a narrative with its readers, predominantly women, predominantly housewives, of a little bit of danger, a little bit of excitement. They built up these relationships between these two characters and explored BDSM in a way that was wildly juvenile and simplistic and not at all indicative of the actual work that goes into BDSM, never mind like the post-care scenario. But women still found themselves connected with these characters because they read about them. They spent time with this relationship as it grew over 3 books, 3 movies. Now the movies, they were designed to be a cash grab. That's all they were. I mean, it went as far as even putting digital pubes on Dakota Johnson. Like that is literally what they did in that movie. But if they would have taken it and they would have spent more time actually building out the relationship and not making it as one-dimensional as it was theatrically, the sequels could have probably done a little bit more, because the first movie did $500 million. The second 2 did not. And I think that's because there was a lack of intimacy that was there in the books that was compelling to the female going audience. which is exactly why if you want to sell erotica in a way that is going to please both sexes, which is something, by the way, you're going to absolutely need to do, you're going to have to do it in a way that is not only cinematic, but sensual, which is why I think Zack Snyder should direct porno. So anyway. So that was my rant on that. Lord Slug here makes a great comment. Preach to all the coomers. Look, here's the thing. If you enjoyed that extremely off the cuff rant, please hit a like. I would appreciate it. Oh, I needed water. That whole thing dried me out. Oof. So yeah, let's move on. A lot of people, random idiot here says, great TED Talk. Yeah. But, Toronto Freddy asks, speaking of BDSM, y'all ever seen the Professor Marsden and the Wonder Woman? No, I have not. Underhaven here with Zack Snyder's Just Ass League. Is that... That's pretty funny. That's really good, man. Tony here asking, so Matt, is there something naughty you're not telling us? No, not at all, actually. Not at all. I'm just talking about from like filmmaker perspective, creator perspective, the emotional resonance with the audience, that kind of thing. I mean, think about it like this, right? Modern porn is kind of like modern movies. Gets you in, gets you out. You don't get any kind of connection with the storytelling, and then you're on to your next thing. That's about it, right? So yeah, it's kind of, you can tell that like clearly there's not much of a care about storytelling anymore. But if you were able to tell something that was compelling, you would able to have it. You would see something cross market itself, and I think that'd be very fascinating to see. H Bart's here, $2. Ben Shapiro loves porn. Does he? I don't know. Let's see here. Does Zach actually say that? Yeah, Cosmic. He said that he would like to make either a religious movie or a porno, or one that's, or both. So I think that's pretty funny. All right. Geeks here asks, who would Zach cast in his porn? I don't know, man. I don't know. Probably Johnny Sins, just for Enosh at Poindexter Lounge. I'm probably so gonna get a DM from him over this. However, I here's something that he might actually do. Here's some casting that he might actually do. So I asked this today on Twitter. Kind of posited a theory. Admitting you wouldn't say no, and because I saw this floating around. So I mean, obviously, if you think about it, it's like his movies. All right, press 1 in the chat if you wouldn't say no. There we go. Let's see. Actually, okay, Shiftygism makes a great point here, and this was on Cinemax, by the way, too. Go watch the early seasons of Banshee. It's like porn, but with action scenes, a compelling story, and Amish folk. That is very true, and arguably also incest. So yeah, that is kind of pretty modern, isn't it? But no, Banshee is the shit. It's got 4 seasons, I think. It's on HBO Max right now. You owe it to yourself to watch it. It is utterly fantastic. If you like Homelander, from The Boys, Anthony Starr does wonders in that show. All right. So, go watch Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman. Says here, it's a really great film. It's about the guy who created Wonder Woman and the lie detector test. Oh, cool. I'll have to check that one out. Let's see here. Jero says he would cast Mia Malkova or make Lana Rhoades come out of retirement. Yeah, but what about like Lexi Bell or oh man, there's a few of them that are in retirement now. I'm out of date on who is around. What's her name? What is her name? You know what? It would be like Mia Malkova and Riley Reid or something, right? It'd be something like that. And Riley Reid would just be like Harley. If it was like a just ass league, Riley Reid would be Harley, and it would just be the most insane thing of Harley anyway. All right. Ryan Hartwell here $5. Thank you, sir. It says horror movies can be compared to porn in a way, building up suspense versus a quick release of shock. Yeah, no. You're 100% right, and that's kind of the whole concept of it too. I mean, it's the whole idea of building up suspense, building it up to will they, won't they, will they, won't they, will they, won't they, and then you get to the end and it's just done. I mean, yeah, it's a very rudimentary comparison, but yeah, I think you're absolutely onto something there. I mean, there's a reason. Look, here's another thing I didn't talk about. When you think about movies, right? When you think about, let's say, romantic comedies, who is the primary demographic for that? A lot of people would say women. The reality of it is it's actually more men than women, because men like it as much, if not even more than women in some cases. And the reason why for this has everything to do with the outcome. So the outcome of a romantic comedy, you would think, oh, woman gets the guy, right? It's either the best friend, it's like the nice guy, it's right, whatever archetype you want to argue. But now think about it from a guy's perspective, okay? The dude is the best friend, the nerd, the not jock, right? Just a normal, average, everyday, nice, easygoing guy. The guy that would never get a girl like that because she would just look past him to the asshole who always treats her like shit. And then in many of these cases, the woman is with an asshole that treats her like shit. So then at the end of the movie, she realizes the error of her ways and she ends up hooking up with the nice guy. If you think about it, romantic comedies, generally speaking, are quite misogynistic, but they're not ultimately aimed for the female demographic. They're ultimately aimed for the male demographic, but they use women as an entry point because they sell the narrative that men are going to be the heroes in the end, that men are going to get the girl. The women think it's different, that they're going to get the guy. But if you think about it, in reality, how many dudes get upset that they're friend zoned? How many dudes get upset that women that they have affection for are dating the assholes? I mean, if you think about it, romantic comedies sell men just as much, if not more, of a fantasy in that regard as women. You slap on a little bit of comedy in there and it's a win-win for everyone involved. But that is also something you got to think about when it comes to talking about these particular films. Let's see here. H Parts here, $2 super chat, says save Martha, love scene, but porn. Yeah, I'd be trying to. Well, I mean, that could also kind of be 300, right? Oh my God, Lisa Ann, you guys are just talking up people in the chat. Who's the dominant one in that Martha scene? Whoever Batman would be, you know? And I don't know. I don't know who that would be, right? I don't know who that would be. But if they ever brought in a Wonder Woman, Allison Tyler could do a pretty good job. She's kind of like an Amazon. Let's see. Cup of Milk says, did Zach really say that? Come on. This is ridiculous. Dude, I showed the quote on the screen. I will bring it up again. Zach, this is an actual quote right here from Zack Snyder that he said in an interview. I've always wanted to make a religious film and a pornography film, and I've never really yet had the chance to do either. Maybe if I could combine the two, or maybe 300 is that film in some sense, a little bit, or at least a primer for what that film could be. So, you know, you can't sit there and say, this is ridiculous when he literally says it in a Telegraph interview. Now the question, hold on. Peter Rabbit's Defender says Julia Ann. You know, I got a story about that. So when I was in LA back in 2003 for E3, the last night we were there, my friend and I decided to go to a strip club, and we went to the Spearmint Rhino, and we were both just 21 years old, and they were giving out free topless lap dance coupons at E3. Right? That's a great way to get business, to go to E3, bunch of nerds. Like, here's some titties, here's some titties, here's some titties. What they didn't tell you is the $20 admission fee and the 2-drink minimum that were on top of the $20 admission fee. Anyway, Julia Ann was performing 2 sets that night, and she performed both sets. And I was at the tip rail because my friend, he disappeared as soon as we got there. I told him, I gave him the rules of the road. I said, don't use the ATM. Don't run off with the first girl that hits you up. He did both of those things. And when I finally saw him again a little bit later, I'm like, how'd it go? And he had fun. Probably a little bit too much fun if you ask me. But he's like, I'm going to have to ask my dad to help me pay my rent this month. That is how much money he blew at a strip club in LA. Me, on the other hand, I had $20. I know how to rock the system. Okay. I'm a connoisseur. Okay. That's how this goes. But anyway, we're at E3 and we're at the club. Julia Ann performed 2 shows. The first one was like, was like a it was like a hot wax show, right? It was a hot wax performance. So she was like pouring the hot wax all over her. And then at the end of it, she was like, hold up a towel. She's like, so who wants to wipe me off? And apparently I looked pathetic enough, right? I looked very pathetic back then, apparently, because I was like, me, baby. And then she's all like, okay. So she's like, hold out your hands. So I held out my hands and she put the towel over my hands. And then she like ran up and like ran her boobies in my hands. So I've touched her boobs through a towel, but hey, you know what still counts? I'm going to count it. 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 Don't you dare take that away from me. And then the next set she was on, again, my friend's still gone at this point in time. He was gone a while, like an hour and a half. That's a lot of money at a strip club in LA. That's a lot of money. Anyway, she did another set. This time around, it was like a lotion thing, and she had like a wife beater, and she like tore off the wife beater. And again, at the end of the set, she was like, who wants my shirt? And apparently me, I was right there. She looked at me, we made eye contact, and I was like, yeah, baby, I've already touched the titties. Now let me get the shirt. And she gave me the shirt. And I'm pretty sure I still have it somewhere because I think like it was in a drawer somewhere for years. But that's my Julianne story. There you go. All right. So anyway, Cosmic here says Zach doing porn could piss off a lot of fans. If Zach doing anything is going to piss off a lot of people, do you really think he cares? Not at all. $2 here from HBart says sad Affleck porn. Yeah, that'd be pretty funny. That'd be pretty funny. Oh my God. You guys in the chat, you all absolutely know. You all absolutely know who your favorite porn is. Let's see. Music Man here says, interesting take on a romantic comedy. That would explain why watch a lot of them. Yeah. I'm telling you, it's not hard to break down the marketing aspects of these films. It's not hard to look at them and go, this is exactly who they're for. And I did get effed out of a tip tonight. God damn it. I did this last order. I did this like 20-mile delivery tonight. And it was like all the way. It was a 20-mile delivery, and they were supposed to tip out like an additional $8, and they did not tip out the $8 that they brought me up. They brought me all the way out 20 miles. And yeah, they gave me a negative downvote and they didn't tip me. And I left it at their address. God damn it. Anyway, that pisses me off. This is the problem with Uber. Sometimes you get shady people like that are like, oh, it's this house. And you go up there and then like, oh no, that's not where I live. People suck. Anyway, Geeks here says, I jealous Jarbo. You should be. No kidding. Anyway, all right. So Jaro here says J.J. Abrams to direct and Snyder to DP a big budget porno. I tell you the truth, it would just be a lot of lens flare off the side of the camera. And you know what? I don't need things distracting me while I'm trying to focus on what I'm watching a movie like that for. You know what I mean? It's like unnecessary angles, some of those movies. Anyway, all right. No, well, Ryan did ask a question here. I saw, okay. Saying here, there are films that have gotten NC-17 ratings for less. That is true. Because the thing with the MPAA is that the MPAA doesn't actually have a standard, right? Like it's a citizen run thing. That's a citizen, by the way. They do like average people that are supposed to like thinking about the good of the society, of the good of the fabric of society. We don't want our children watching that. So they're the ones who do it. And so there's no real like guidelines, I mean, there's some things, but really it's about how they're feeling that day. There's a movie on this called This Film Was Not Yet Rated by Kirby Dick. And it's an interesting documentary. It kind of talks about that quite a bit. And they try to track down who some of these people are, but the thing with the MPAA is nothing more than a lobbying arm for Hollywood to the government. And the fact that Jack Vincente ran it for all those years, I don't know who runs it right now, but I remember he was in the government, and then he basically just became a lobbyist for the MPAA. If you want my honest opinion, the MPAA needs to be absolutely abolished because F them to the end of time. Seriously, F the MPAA. Not a fan. All right. Sorry I didn't get your tip. Yeah, that sucks. It's like, but it happens every once in a while. All right. Shifty Gizms here says, it really bums me out that a girl like Eva Lavia got into porn. She's so good looking. She could have at least gone on a CW show. Who is that? I don't know who that is. I honestly don't know who that is. Now I gotta look it up. She's an American, Japanese, Spanish pornographic film actor, age 31 years old, and doesn't look familiar to me. Not saying she isn't, just saying I don't know. Let's see. I mean, she's naturally good looking. You know, I can't sit there and say she's not. So good for her. But I mean, look, it happens, man. Some people just like to get into it. There's a lot of money to be made in that industry. Look at Mia Khalifa. You know, she made money in that industry. She says that she didn't, which I don't believe. And then she got out and she kind of used it as a way to tie it over into doing Twitch, into making money out the side, doing other things, banking on the name. Because if you get bigger, if you get popular enough in the industry, you can end up going and doing the circuit, right? The porn convention circuit. And there's a lot of money there because there's a lot of horny dudes that go there and they'll pay like $20-$30 for a picture. And, and the reality of it is, like, they're going to go home that night and, like, skeet to that picture. But at the same time, they make their money and they already know that, they can make some good cash on that. It's like actors that end up getting, like that were popular on a show and then they end up on the convention circuit. That's where they make their money. So, I mean, it's all just a business, right? It's all just a business. H. Bart's here asks, ever heard of Hays Code before the MPAA? Yeah. I've heard of the Hays Code. Let's see here. That was the original motion picture production code. It was a set of industry guidelines for the self-censorship of content that was applied to most United States motion pictures released by major studios from 1934 to 1968. Yeah. I mean, it's like, there's always been censorship in this kind of stuff, right? There's always been censorship in this kind of stuff. But the reality of it is that they're all terrible. Do I remember the controversy with Tracy Lords? Yeah, where she was underage. Yeah, I remember that controversy. Let's see here. The MPAA has ruined so many movies, such as The First Friday the 13th with Kane Hodder cut up to shit. Fuck, man. Yeah, well, I mean, like Kevin Smith movies always get hit for language. Language. The MPAA is mad about language and dirty jokes. Oh my God, you said something offensive. We can't have you say something offensive. Yeah, I mean, like the Clerks came out in 1993, is when that thing was made. There'd be no way they could do some of the jokes today. Even in the Clerks animated series on ABC, in the very first episode, Randall says, that's retarded and queer. And he said it on ABC back in 2000. Like, where we are nowadays is very interesting. And I know comedians will sit there and say, well, if you can't say something a certain way without punching down or whatever, then the joke really isn't that funny. And it's like, sometimes you punch down, but you're punching down at a very specific thing. And that's something you have to kind of gauge as as a comedian. I like to make fun of stuff. I like to tell edgier jokes. Generally, what I do is I aim for more of a sexual type of humor, because I feel like it's, for the most part, you're not really punching down. I'm just making jokes about things that everybody does, And so that's kind of where I get my humor in there. That's what I try to do. I do try to not insult anybody, but at the same time, sometimes you can't really help it. If I'm going to go after a politician, isn't that going to anger their fan base? If I make fun of Donald Trump, which I did quite a bit, that Cheeto-eating bastard, it's like, wouldn't that piss off some of his fan base? Believe me, I've gotten the death threats. So it's like, it is what it is. Like, this is why the cancel culture argument is very difficult to kind of have. Anyway, Underhaven here says, Clerks animated. I know. It's fantastic. I met Brian Christopher O'Halloran at Comic-Con in 2019. I was very happy to meet him. Let's see. Ryan here says, up until the movie Psycho, you weren't allowed to show people going to the bathroom. Didn't that come out like in 1968? I mean, how puritanical was our society? How puritanical is it still? I mean, look, you have like members of like the more conservative side of things that are all like, you have a bunch of girls out there on TikTok shaking their asses. And it's like, yeah, but maybe these women are now coming into their own power. And here's the reality of it, man. Porn consumption in the Bible Belt of the United States, insane. Insane how much is consumed in that pocket because of all the sexually repressed people that are told to not explore themselves, explore how they feel on certain things. It's all just repent, 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 or ye goeth to hell. So at the end of the day, what do? They're home, they're by themselves, they get the urging for some little self-care, and they jump on the internet and they just Google tits, and there we have it. You know, I mean, look, here's the thing. I'll bring this up again. Looking at the thumbnail for tonight's episode, you see the Zack Snyder porn videos, Pornhub thing there. You can Google that. Like, that was an actual screenshot I took from my phone. You know, like it's actually one of the guys from Channel Awesome. I forget which one it is. The bald guy, reviewing a porno and stuff like that. Like, you know, that's one of his things. But the whole point essentially is that it's, you know, you can find it of anything, but in certain parts of the country, people are more repressed and they look into some weird stuff. I'll show you guys this. This will get the video demonetized 100%. I probably shouldn't on this channel. Hold on. All right, here we go. I'm going to get in. So let's see here. Hold on. All right. Okay, so I'm showing you guys this here purely for scientific reasons. I'm just not going to monetize this episode, son of a bitch, because we're talking about it. So to give you an idea, this is pornmd.com. And this is live searches right now in the straight category. All right. Like, this is what people, like, granny anal is something people are looking for right now. Mia Khalifa, we already mentioned her. I mean, look at this kind of stuff. Even like you can see the taboo stuff coming on in, right? You can see this, all this kind of stuff coming in. And especially if you look at, let's say, what are the orientation? All right, let's go with gay here. I don't know what Check Hunter Full is. I'm not going to click on that one. You know, but like, again, this is what people are looking for. And in different, you know, this is all worldwide. This is not just the United States. All right. And so you can see a bunch of this kind of stuff. And then there's even a trans category where, I mean, you can see, and I guarantee you that there's a fair amount of these searches that are coming in from supposedly straight individuals. So, I mean, like, that's the thing. The more you repress stuff, the more you push back again, the more you try to limit things, the more these kind of taboo elements come out, because people are always looking for a way to express themselves. They're always looking for a way to get to that point. And that is where, when you think about it, again, going back to the concept of a carefully crafted story that hits those emotional beats, it can have a very big impact on the viewer and everything else. It's very interesting. Harry Otter. I don't know. Oh, Silent Scotty says, oh my God, the human race is doomed. It's not doomed. It's not doomed, but it's very gray. There's a lot there that people don't know about. And maybe this isn't like the actual, like, place to have this conversation. You know, this is a movie chat, but we're talking about the concept of entertainment. We're talking about the concept of what people watch and why they watch it. And adult films is something people watch a lot of. And so understanding the psychology and understanding the motivation and understanding why certain things are the way that they are, we end up getting a better understanding of how to maybe tell more compelling stories. And I think that if we were to spend more time actually evolving the intimacy of these kind of stories, we would potentially see a shifting in those kind of search the search choices right there. You know, we might find something a bit more, I don't want to say wholesome because it's porn, but a bit more, you know, like, not something, you know, is coming out of a person who is like, just like never seen this stuff. Anyway, Min here says, LOL, the Bible Belt is very hypocritical and not practicing what they preach. Oh yeah. Underhaven here says, the porn industry is a long way to go in respecting trans people. I hate a big problem with how many trans women get labeled as she-males. Yeah, well, that was the old terminology. And yeah, you're right. That was the old terminology. that was what they sold it as back in the day, because it was meant to be, it was meant to be taboo, but now it's been more normalized, and so yeah, there's a terminology change there, but I get what you mean. All right, Jess Mars here says, speaking of taboo, do you think there is a double standard representing gay men and lesbians in the film industry? How do you mean? How do you mean? I'm kind of curious about that. How do you mean? Is there a double standard? I mean, gay men do get represented better than lesbians in movies because generally they're seen as like the plucky best friend, or, more of like an upbeat type character if they're trying to stereotype them. Lesbians, on the other hand, are like, I feel like they kind of, kind of paint them in the light sometimes as of being very, what's the word I want to use here? Like kind of manly, and I know that, again, that's a stereotype that the lesbian community has to deal with. But maybe that's what you try to mean. All right. Let's see. Mario says here, yeah, the concept of everyone playing with their Pikachus later on is death. Cosmic Yogi here says, how the hell do you review a porno? I guess you just check out like the production quality of it. And I'll tell you guys a story about this too. So back in 2014, there was a website called Badoink.com. That's the website, Badoink.com. And they did actually a Frozen porn parody, Anna, Elsa, all that stuff. And I made a video about it for the other channel laughing about it. I was like, oh my God, they're going to make this, because it was a strange news story. Well, their social media team, their PR people, found that video on YouTube, and they emailed me and they said, how would you like to review that porno? How would you like to review that? And they gave me like their premium access to this pay site for like 3 years. I mean, like literally they gave me this like premium subscription for years because I reviewed their thing, and it was pretty bad, but they also had like The Last of Us, where Joel and Ellie has, they had Resident Evil, parody scenes. They did a bunch of nerd stuff that would get like the nerds to come over and, pay up the money. It's like, yeah, you can go on Pornhub and watch these videos that were made of computer generated stuff, but this is the real thing. And that's what they tried to do. So, Peter, anyway here. Peter Rabbit's Defender says, not about porn, but Alexandria Daddario's nude scene in True Detectives always gave me a boner. That was a good one. Yeah. I mean, that gets shared a lot on the internet. So, anyway, and then also the season of True Detective, Lily Simmons, star of Banshee, the chat has now come full circle. That's very true. I remember her being in that as well. Yeah. I really like True Detective season 1. I haven't seen season 2, and I need to finish watching season 3. But I hear it's good. So yeah, I mean, this has been a very fascinating conversation in regards to the subject matter, and not at all how I kind of saw the night going. So let's see here. Osti Chu says, what's with the significance of the number 4 in Army of the Dead? Goddard Damirung is the 4th in the ring cycle, shot 4 times, opening singers say 1, 2, 3, 4, all hinting at this being the 4th loop. Yeah, I need to dive into that whole thing with that because I don't know, but I think it's going to be, I need to watch it again to pay more attention to it. I just haven't had the time. It's 2.5 hours, but yeah, you're right. There's some stuff there. Also, Toronto Freddy here says, Zack Snyder presents Dawn of the Head. Oh man, that's good. That's good. That's really good. Anyway, there's, Music Man here. So much porn, but a good talk. Well, I think, having those kind of conversations is essential to movie talk, right? Oh, I was wrong. Okay. I said 1968. It was 1960. My bad. I'm off by a couple years. Same decade though. I got that part right. But no, I mean, I think, Music Man here makes a point. Like the conversations need to happen because that is how we progress. And a lot of people, especially when it comes to the concept of sex, they regress constantly. They can't ever have those conversations. They're afraid of it because we are we have very strict puritanical roots in this country. I mean, look at the fact that the Quakers came over and colonized the East Coast, the Quakers, they weren't out there partying for Mardi Gras. To them, sex was simply for basically procreation. It is a sin to lay with a woman outside of the bed of marriage. Yeah, but I'm gonna do it anyway. You know what I mean? Like they repressed it so much and they turned it into this thing. I mean, like France is very open about their sexuality. It's like women will have multiple partners, men have multiple partners. I read this thing on Reddit the other day. This guy was really upset that his girlfriend, he'd been with like 4 women and she'd been with like 38 dudes. And it's like she went through a period of her life where she was just kind of slaying, I mean, she was like pipe was getting laid every night. And that's fine, man. That's fine. I mean, the great thing about the chat on that one was the chat was like, that was an old her and she's choosing to be with you. Like that is where the difference is, right? Now, don't get me wrong, 38's a number. I don't have 38, but it's like 38's a number. But I understand the stigma that's attached to it, but that's also stigma. Does it change who the person is if they've had a number of sexual partners? Right? And what does it say about you if you can watch a porn star that you like multiple times with multiple different people and still have no problem, schlacking one off? But if you think about it, and the same context applies to like a woman that you're with, it's seen as derogatory. It's seen as something that's distasteful, when that is just something that you have literally built up in your own mind. And at the end of the day, it's not like, it's not what it is. I had a friend of mine, honest to God, one night he was drunk as hell and he's all like, what I read, what I heard on the news today? And I was like, what's that? He's like, I heard that if a white woman has sex with a black guy, but then gets pregnant by a white guy, the baby will be part black because part of the black man's DNA will be still in her body. And I looked at him with like, and I love this guy, but I looked at him with like contempt and just like sheer shock and awe, like just taken aback. And I'm like, what the are you saying? And he goes, I saw it on Fox News. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. You know what I mean? Like that is also part of the reason why we have that kind of repression, because there's also so much misinformation that goes along with this sort of thing that ends up being just bad. I mean, like imagine if Doomcock was telling everyone like, was giving the birds and bees talks to people. Like, that is how bad this can get sometimes. So anyway, now Cosmic Yogi says, don't you think porn industry has distorted what sex and intimacy is? Yes, I do. And I mentioned that earlier on as well. When I went on this rant about why Zack should direct porn. Min here says, I will say that Matt is like the only movie talk YouTuber that would talk about this. And much appreciate that. Well, no, I would, because it's like, here's the thing. Here's the thing. It's like having these kind of conversations. For one, I find them to be fascinating. Two, I already said I'm not going to make any money on this stream advertisement wise. So you guys helping out with the super chats is going to help out quite a bit, but it also allows these conversations. It's very much an interesting thing. Nova Joe here says, just seen Army, awesome movie. Hell yeah. H Bart's here. $2 says MAGA porn. I am sure there is. Let me actually Google that here. All right. And you can find that. There's one here. It's indigo white, and she's wearing a MAGA hat, and she is with a gigantic black dildo. Oh my God. Why am I on Pornhub? What am I doing? What are you doing to me? What are you doing to me? H-bar. It's making me look up dirty, nasty stuff on my computer. Anyway, thoughts on Hentai's comic? Too many I'm not big into hentai. It's one of the reasons why I'm not into anime. I know it sounds kind of weird, but it is what it is. Jess here says, we do not want to see Trump porn. Well, I mean, yeah. Neither did Stormy Daniels, but look where that got us. Holy shit. H-Bart's here. $300. Not $350. Thank you, H-Barts. Thank you so much. 300 Rise of a Poner. Yeah, maybe somebody listening to this on the replay will go out and make that into an actual poster. But I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot, man. Oh my God. I really hope Zack Snyder sees this live stream. I think he would be impressed at the maturity of us having this conversation. And I don't mean that to be sarcastic. I mean that literally. I think there would be like a fair amount of like, yeah, those guys get it. They get it. They understand it. Anyway, Toronto here, Freddie says, Doomcock is how I learned the sex. Yeah, well, it's probably why you're alone. Ozzy Mandy is here, asks, does anyone think Chernobyl is going to erupt again? I hope not. I really hope not. Tony Izzo says, do you know how cookies are made? They're made of dildo. Oh my God. Go to bed. Go to bed, Tony. Cosmic Yogi here says, Zack Snyder's 300 Virgins. Geek Studios here says, you should interview Zack Snyder. Here's the thing. I think after that video where I was mad at Zack Snyder, I am pretty positive like that wouldn't happen. I would love to sit down and get into the nitty gritty of this kind of stuff with him, because I think I would ask those kind of follow-up questions. I would definitely ask those follow-up questions, and I would go down a pathway that you wouldn't get from a lot of other people out there. I would really ask those kind of motivating questions, especially on the subject of porn. And it's not that I'm like some kind of weird, like demented pervert. I'm actually relatively vanilla in that department myself. But I still find the concept of it from a societal level, from an anthropological level, from an evolution level, I find it to be very interesting. And so I'd like to kind of follow my mind where my mind goes. I like to look into those subjects wherever my mind will take me, because I mean, the worst thing we can do as a species is not actively seek knowledge. You know what I mean? Like, that's the worst thing we could do as a species, is not seek knowledge, because knowledge betters us. It allows us to be more prepared for the future. It allows a lot of things. And a lot of people, I feel, are just like, don't want to do it. Don't want to do it. It's like, not hard, man. Like, you read a book. I read Wikipedia every single day. And I also like to follow the sources, by the way. Okay. But Mario does make a great point here. Let's be honest. None of us are taking it as maturely as we should be. No. That is true. I like to make jokes. All right. I like to make jokes. But yes, you're right. And I also don't like to be serious if I don't have to be serious. But I think having some of those conversations, I think you can have a serious conversation by starting off with something more comical. Let's see. Stanley Kubrick was once going to make the first mainstream porn movie. If you have seen the unrated stuff with that one movie he did with Nicole, what's it called? I know it. Kubrick. Eyes Wide Shut. That's what it is. Eyes Wide Shut. Then, yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you, Ashley. I completely agree with you 100% on that one. So 300 virgins versus 1,000 chads. My money's on the virgins, to be honest with you. My money's on the virgins, because they have nothing to lose at that point, and everything to gain. Everything to gain. And you know what, chads, they're emotional. Their bodies are drained of fluid from all the sexing, so they can't. So they're not operating at peak physical prowess. Anyway, so for those of you guys who might be asking about future episodes of Podio Commentary, I did sit down today, because it is the 25th anniversary of Mission Impossible. I did sit down today and start working on the Mission Impossible script. It would have already been done. Let me just kind of explain my frustration with some of this. So I use Wikipedia as a framework, especially for older movies, because oftentimes those articles compile a lot of the information that I'm not able to get my hands on directly. And in this particular case, a lot of those articles are from like Entertainment Weekly or other articles from 1996 that are not archived, by the, that are not archived at all by the internet, because we didn't have that at the time. And so trying to get some of the stuff to get a better understanding of like the timeline, this one's proving to be difficult. Like, for example, in the Wikipedia article, it talks about there being 2 screenplays that were unusable that no one liked, but it doesn't say who wrote those screenplays. Like in the next paragraph, it will mention another pair of writers, but you don't know if they're the ones who wrote that screenplay. So then you go to I had to go to IMDb to read their trivia. And in the trivia, lo and behold, I find the information I'm looking for. So like I'm piecing this together like an archaeologist trying to make this work. Thankfully, Tom Cruise has been talking a lot more recently, so there is some newer information to pull from. But other than that, like De Palma hasn't said much, and there's really not been a lot of follow-up. So that part sucks. I'm working on it. It's going to come probably this week sometime. I'm trying. It's frustrating stuff. That is true. I got to get the DVDs. I don't have the DVDs of those ones yet, so I got to get them. Go watch all the Mission Impossible movies. Get ready for Patio. I'm just doing the first one because it's the 25th anniversary, but I wouldn't mind going through all of them eventually. Eventually, I'll get through. Eventually, I'll even be able to do all the Marvel Cinematic movies. That will take me forever, but it will be fun nonetheless. But all right, guys, I'm feeling like I'm still feeling the effects from the Moderna shot, so I'm a little bit run down tonight. I'm a little bit tired, so I'm going to kind of wind this down to the next couple of minutes. For one, I just want to say thank you very much for everyone engaging in the conversation. And if you are listening to this on the VOD, if you get to this point, please type in Zach and Miri make a porno in the chat. That way I know. Or just Zach and Miri in the comment box so I know you guys made it. That would be great. That way I know, because it's an hour in. But anyway, real quick here. Osti says here, I thought people would stop hating Snyder after he's moved on from Cape shit, but judging by the disingenuous zombie song discourse, people just want to hate him. Yeah, I mean, people like, this guy today, for example, said that he says he hated Army of the Dead, and that he was questioning my taste in movies. And I'm like, well, I don't know what you want me to tell you. What do you want me to tell you? Like, go get somebody else's opinion then if you want your opinions fed back to you. I'm not going to be that guy. And he's all like, wow, you can't take criticism. I'm all like, what in there was criticism? Where are you critiquing my opinion? You're just saying it doesn't align with yours. That's not a critique. That is you bitching. And then he kept trying to double down and double down and double down. And it was the stupidest argument. It was frustrating, because it's like, this is the kind of thing where it's like people who cannot make an actual intriguing enough argument. There's enough there in Army of the Dead that is very fascinating, especially if you like world building and you like lore. And considering that a lot of the people that are going to dive into like these kind of movies are people who enjoy world building and enjoy lore, then you're going to want to know what's going to come next, because they're going to probably explain a lot of stuff. And that is going to be very fascinating to see. But like I've said before, so many people these days simply just want that stuff spoon-fed to them, and they don't want to think about it. And Zack Snyder actually makes you think in one way or another with his movies. It's not my fault or your fault that the public in some aspects are truly unable to decipher this stuff for themselves. And that actually speaks volumes to the kind of storytelling people have gotten used to. The pump and dump method. Just like porn. Tying it all back around. Anyway. Totaling Wolfer does ask, do I think Zach would work for Marvel? No, I don't. I really don't think so. I don't think so. Ryan here says, looking forward to the Mission Impossible PC episode. Yeah, dude, me too. I'm hoping to work on that tomorrow morning when I'm more awake. Ozzy here says, well said. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And Ozzy here says, Zach did something new with the zombie genre and it was dope. That's true. I really enjoyed that. Mario says his favorite Marvel superhero is the Hulk. Well, I mean, we're never going to get a solo Hulk movie unless Universal sells the rights to the Hulk back to Marvel. But they're not going to do that. So we're only going to get Hulk iterations like Mark Ruffalo. And I love Mark Ruffalo as Hulk, but there's a rights issue, which is why we're getting the way that we're getting it. H-Bart's here. Another $5. You, Sue, are too kind and too generous. Thank you. Saying here, Pornhub presents The Poindexter Lounge, also starring Andrew the Boxer. Who's Andrew the Boxer? I don't get that reference. That'd be kind of funny though. Yeah, Poindexter Lounge on Pornhub would be pretty good. Geeks here says, I love lore and world building stories. Exactly. Peter Rabbit's Defender, $2, asking is it weird that I found Florence Pugh so sexual? No, she's an attractive woman. I get it. Something about her really triggers your lizard brain. Something about her really kind of gets you in that place, and I get that. I get that. It's like Margot Robbie, man. Like, I can't look at Margot Robbie sometimes without, it's like she's too attractive. You know what I mean? Like, just too attractive. And that just my brain just can't compute. Like, if I ever was in a room with Margot Robbie, I would not know what to say. Like, I wouldn't know what to say. I would just babble. I would babble. It would be bad. Yeah, Music Man here says it's very sad that they don't think. That's very true. Cosmic here says people are so intolerant to different opinions. I think the problem though is that we tell everyone that their opinions matter. And not to say that they don't matter. I don't want you to think that they don't matter. But in general, it's kind of hard to like have those disagreements, which is why like when I do open up calls, I just didn't do it tonight. When I open up calls, if you guys disagree with one of my opinions, tell me, and we'll debate it. We'll have it out because I think that's more fun. And I like a good lively debate. The thing is though, a lot of people just don't want to do that because a lot of people just hate confrontation. And I think a large part of the way that our society has gone and maybe with narcissism, things like that is again, people just don't want confrontation. They just don't want to rock the boat. And there's days I don't want to rock the boat. And then there's days I want to Titanic that shit. It just really depends. I'm kind of weird like that. This is the best comment of the night. Ozzy here says, Zach needs to get his hands on Dread ASAP. Oh yeah. Can we start a campaign to get that to Rebellion? Can we start a campaign to get that go? Like, look, Zack Snyder, Dread 2, Carl Urban back as Dread. Alex Garland writes the script. Done. Oscar-winning movie right there. $100 billion in the box office. Probably not, but in my dreams, that's what it would be. Was who here tonight? Was Zach here tonight? No. Or Andrew Casali was here. Yeah, we kind of made fun of him a little bit ago. We made fun of the situation, not Andrew. All right, what am I going to do, Collins? Maybe tomorrow. I just wasn't feeling up to tonight, man. That's the whole thing. I don't want to, Anthony, it's nothing personal, but I don't want to do it every single night. I didn't do it last night, but Underhaven came on. We had a great 2-hour conversation, but there's nights I just don't want to do it. Zack Snyder, Hellboy. Yeah, but the thing is, I know comic book stuff is one thing and he would be good. I like the Neil Marshall Hellboy from 2019. I'm kind of alone in that one. I think that movie got like undue hatred and I thought it was pretty good for what it was, but I get it. I just want Zach to do things that he likes. How about that? Let's see. Music Man here says, Zach would fucking crush the shit out of Dread. Fuck me. Why didn't I think of that? It's so good. Dread is amazing. Ryan here says, Dread is very underrated. Yeah. I saw it in 3D when it came out. I literally that was the only available screening was in 3D. And I'm so happy. And I don't say that about 3D movies, but I was so happy to see that in 3D. It was so good. Dread is just amazing. Lord Slug talking about Andrew said 3 nights in a row we got clowned on. Andrew says here, you guys are mean. We do it with love, Andrew. Okay. I guess you might've been fighting earlier in the, you just gotta look, dude, people are going to talk trash. All right. You just gotta you just gotta kind of fight them or leave, I guess. Or just ignore them. If you just ignore them, they go away, to be honest with you. That's really what it boils down to. But anyway, Geek Studios here says, I love 2019 Hellboy. Damn straight. And then Eddie with the Mortal Kombat. He was, yeah, I know. I gotta watch it. Maybe I'll go. No, it's midnight right now. It's already off of HBO Max and I didn't see it. Oh, well, I'll see it eventually. I'm not in a hurry. It ain't going anywhere. I mean, it's going to be on HBO Max again here in a couple months and I'll probably forget to watch it then either. So, anyway, guys, I am going to go to bed because I'm exhausted. Today's been a long day. Thank you all for the very interesting conversation. Again, if you guys liked it, please do me a favor, hit a like on the video. Leave a comment below. if you're coming back to it a little bit later on. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Have yourself a great evening. Thank you again to everybody for the support. Love you lots, and peace.